Hi, my name is Halef, and I'm half of the Round World guys. In the last video, I went to explore the city of Sofia in Bulgaria, visiting some of the most beautiful monasteries in the region, as well as enjoying some tasty delicacies around the city. Sadly, it is time for me to continue on with the journey, and this time, I'm hopping on an overnight bus and crossing into Greece. This is the city of Athens, and this is where we're gonna start our adventure this time. Hey guys, good morning from Athens, Greece. Today is my first full day here in the city, and I'm so excited. This is my first time ever visiting Greece, and today the plan is for me to play a tourist. Therefore, I would love to check out and learn as much as I could inside the city. We're gonna start right here with the free walking tour of Athens.
I'm gonna be your tour leader for the next 2.5 to 3 hours.
Alright, let's start our walking tour. We are ready to learn as many things as possible. One thing I love about Europe, especially in a country like Greece or Italy, everything is so old. For example, this church, just one of my favorite, and it's located next to our hostel. Love Europe.
I love there were many people that they were Greek, but they lived in other countries and they wanted to come back to their
If you are an
country.
Olympic geek like myself, this building right behind me is something that you have to definitely check out here in Athens. This is called the Zapion Hall, and this was the first ever athlete village happening here in Greece in 1897. That is the first modern Olympic that we are familiar with nowadays.
This is the first modern Olympic stadium. It's the only main stadium in the whole world, but it's entirely from white marble.
In a lot of ways, Athens reminds me of Rome, Italy, except it is much cleaner city to roam around. The sidewalk is completely swept. There's not many graffiti, but of course this is the city center, so sure there's a lot of care put for tourism, but it is a beautiful city.
It's an old-fashioned rule, but I want you to know that.
Something that I didn't know before, a Christian statue has a rule.
So if all the legs are down, everything is okay. He died out of natural causes. If 2 legs are up, he died in the battle.
Who made up all these rules? The thing you learn.
So it's one of the safest streets that we have. Let's go to the guards. In Greek, we call them evzones.
Throughout the city, at least here in the city center of Athens, there's a lot of police/military personnel.
It's still mandatory for 1 year to do your military service. So these guys are just doing their military service. In order to service as an evzone, you have to be over 1.86 meters.
They're probably descendant of Greek gods. How about that?
The shoes are called tsarousia, made out of leather and wood.
Okay, I'm distracted. Anyway, back to the tour.
We were in the residency of Queen Amalia. We are now going to the residency of King Otto, the Greek parliament, in between royal gardens. Why your royal gardens don't look like royal gardens, they look more like a park. Yeah.
So we're passing through the royal garden, and we were told that during the construction, the queen back then didn't have a lot of money. Therefore, she requested a lot of different seeds from all around the world to plant here. Therefore, now it just feels like a park, which is actually very nice. A popular place for locals and visitors alike. This is the secret exit from the palace. It's not super secret anymore, is it? We are currently in Syntagma Square, which is the main square here in Athens, and this is where a lot of protests are happening. Our guide said it's actually 3 times a week, but today doesn't seem to be one, but I've definitely heard this square from a lot of different references. Just behind me here and behind all the soldiers, is the big Cathedral of Athens. This is the only major building that is not built from marble. Back in 1999, there was a big earthquake in Athens that destroyed this cathedral.
6.5 Richter.
So they have to rebuild it, and they decided not to use any marble to rebuild this massive cathedral. There's a lot of gold inside, or at least a gold-colored one. And next to the big cathedral is the small cathedral. We were told that this was like built way back in the Byzantine era. And when they built it, they recycled a lot of stones from all around Athens. And as a result, there's a lot of different cool looking stones that are not matching to each other because they're all from all different buildings and styles. And they created this little chapel or cathedral. Let's go inside. Smells old, but this is definitely my favorite building so far in Athens. Simply good looking cathedrals.
This is Monastira.
And this is the very touristy part of Athens. You can smell right away the smell of incense, which is nice. And there's like gift shops everywhere. And we have a game to point one of the most available items around here. I think I know the answer. Those are the evil eyes, or in Greek called mataki.
Or if you have blue eyes on your own, you are protected from the bad energy. It's very common to leave a mataki next to the newborn. It protects it from the bad energy of the relatives and all that. Now, as for the penises, it's very weird to have souvenirs like that. We just have a weird sense of humor. 100 years ago, there was a 3-floor library from that wall over there up to that wall in the corner. It was huge.
We walked through many interesting sites all around central Athens, and we learned so much from our guide today. Not a big deal. We just walked by a ruin that's supposed to be pretty important. It's called the Roman Agora. It's another street in Athens.
Are we all going to the restaurant 30 seconds from here, or do I have to say goodbye to some of you?
So that's the Athens Free Walking Tour. A fun way to start my journey here in the city. But this is what I'm so looking forward to check out next. Of course, that's a Parthenon, and that's definitely the #1 must-see things in Athens. However, before we do that, I was advised by multiple sources that I have to visit the Acropolis Museum first. I love how the old meets the new. This is a very sleek first impression so far.
Hello, it's 10 euro, please. For statistics, where are you from?
Here. Thank you.
Let's wait to give your number, please.
Okay. Bags are not permitted inside the museum. Thank you so much. Thank you. There are millions of information and artifacts here. Just overwhelming. But I wish I knew more about the Greek mythology. There's a lot of them here written down everywhere. This is where you need to go if you want to see the actual artifacts of the Acropolis, because they replace a lot of statues up there with replica so that they can protect and store it here in the museum. So right behind me is probably one of the most famous objects here in the museum. These 5 sculptures were taken from one of the temples up in Acropolis. However, they only have 5 right now in the museum because the 6th one is located now in the British Museum. They were trying their best to get the 6th lady back here together with the other 5, and they reserved a spot for her. Although one of the ladies actually broken down into pieces by Turkish cannonballs. God, so much history here.
Με την παράδοση του πέπλου και την παρουσία των θεών στο μέσο της ανατολικής πλευράς.
This is probably the coolest part of the museum. They built a replica, quote unquote, of the Parthenon here on the 3rd floor. They built exactly how they excavated all the artifacts from up there. including all the columns, all the frieze, relief, and all the sculptures that came from the Parthenon. It's all here with all the information that you need to know about each individual items. And I love how you can actually see the Parthenon from the museum. It is just framed right there so that people can also enjoy the actual location of all these artifacts. This is probably the most interesting piece here in the Parthenon collection. This is supposed to be Poseidon's torso and chest. In 1817, Lord Elgin stole a lot of these sculptures as we know it. When he excavated the torso, the chest piece wasn't found, so the white plaster that you can see here was a cast from the torso that was now displayed in the British Museum. They have the abs here. I am simply blown away by the content of this museum. It's highly recommended if you're about to visit the Parthenon, which I'm pretty sure you would. Come to visit this museum first. It is sophisticated, full of information. Love it, love it, love it. So Athens in general is still an active excavation site, and they are actively digging artifacts underneath this museum. Therefore, they provide us with a glass floor that you can walk and look down into, and that makes me very nervous. This part I don't like. I can't even look down, I can even look down, I can even look down. Lots and lots of important ruins everywhere. And they all are so old. People just walking all over above us here on the glass floor. Do not wear a skirt into the museum. Hello. Thank you. And a smart way to explore Athens is to get something that's called a museum pass, which includes all 7 ancient sites of Athens, including the Acropolis, in the same ticket. To give you a perspective, to go to Acropolis is 20 euros, but if you get this ticket, which costs 30 euros, you can visit 6 other spots. This is the Hadrian's library. Yeah, it's not what I thought originally. Don't expect this to be a library. This was once a great library of the Hadrians, but now just another ruins of Athens. You can tell right away, this used to be a magnificent structure. Again, it was impressive to think that these lasted for 2,000 years so far. Hopefully it will last for another 2,000 years. I'm impressed. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It's a hot day here in Athens. A lot of people think that the democracy was born here in the Acropolis, but that is not true. I am currently in the ancient Agora market. Agora market is established to be the birthplace of the democracy. This was a bustling market where people used to hang out and gathering and start talking about politics, social life, and thus democracy was born here. It is definitely a special place just to realize that the modern society is essentially born from this place. Guess what? Another temple. They spent a lot of time and effort to build temples around here. Are those bare butts? Cute! A mini version of the Parthenon, which can be seen way up there. They have a long-term resident here. He's coming towards me. Hey, buddy. Bye, buddy. All right. It is a very hot day here in Athens, and right behind me is the monument of the unknown soldiers. And I generally feel really bad for the guards because they have to stand still in the heat. They're becoming like a tourist attraction, but I can't stop watching them. Right now it's 2 o'clock and it's about time when they have the changing guard ceremony. So we're gonna take a look, see what this is all about. Exactly what it is, they're just changing the guard. Happens every hour, 24/7. As you probably can tell, they move really slow and everybody loves watching them, including myself. I mean, they have to wear costumes and probably super uncomfortable, but it's a lot of grace in it. Because the guards are not allowed to speak, so with every pair of guards, there is one National Guard. That job is to maintain peace. He would come occasionally, fix the costume and dab the sweat. And the only way the guards can communicate to him is by blinking their eyes. They're not supposed to say anything. That will be rough. Just stand still for 1 hour until the next time they get changed. Self-discipline. I probably wouldn't be too good. I'm gonna start itching up everywhere. Hey, good morning all. Today the first thing that I'm gonna do is to visit the Acropolis. This is advised to get there as soon as they open, which is around 8 o'clock. That's what you're gonna do first. Hopefully we'll be able to watch the sunrise from above. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good
It's
morning.
better for you the combining
Yes.
if you want to see more than one.
Yes.
The ticket is valid for 5 days.
Okay.
One visit per side.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Good morning. When people come to Acropolis, they only think one thing and one thing only, which is the Parthenon. Makes sense, but there's also a lot of other structures here. Yeah, you can guess it. We've been hiking up a hill. That's probably why they built it way up here. Wow. The sun is just out behind the hill back up here. It is beautiful. The reason being that I'm here like 8 o'clock when they first opened, because once you get into the day, it's gonna be very intense with little shade up there. It's gonna be super hot, so do it before it gets too hot. It's pretty epic already. And there she is. All these years, I can't believe I finally be able to see it with my own eyes. Oh my goodness. I learned about it all my life. This is the #1 spot to visit in Athens. Therefore, at the beginning at 8 o'clock, it's already busy. I'm sure it's much busier later. Unfortunately, you can't really go inside, rightly so, but you'll be able to see a lot from out here. And I'm also glad that I actually visited the museum beforehand, so you get a lot more information prior to visiting the actual site. It's really a defining moment. From this platform, you can see the expanse of the city of Athens down below. It is a big city. We're modern people, we love to take photos. I'm the same way, so. It is amazing to think that all of these structures still exist after thousands of years. Oh, I mean, they're in really rough shape, but that's why I call it ruins, right? But they are still here. This is the section that got blown by the Ottoman Empire. How dare they? Alright guys, that's it from Athens, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please give a thumbs up. And if you'd like to follow along our journey all around Greece and beyond, hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching, guys. Thank you. All right, I guess she just cut me off.